I'm Anshul, and I'm here to introduce Mr. Rahul Sasi, who will be taking our next session on dark web. Mr. Rahul Sasi is an expert in the field of artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. He's also the founder of CloudSEK, an artificial intelligence powered digital risk management enterprise. Today, he will enlighten us about the dark web and help differentiate myths from facts. So, over to you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for inviting me. Give me a minute. Yeah, this is better, I guess, right?
Yes, sir. So you're on mute.
I think we put you on mute by mistake. If you could.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, sure. So I said what I've done. Thanks for inviting me. I said what I've done is I made the presentation very interactive. All right. So it's gonna be, because it's one of the things I've learned from virtual meetings are that it can get really boring. And so there's going to be a lot of work which you guys have to do more than me talking. So I would really love if you could switch on your cameras. That way it will be more fun, because it'll be fun when you interact, right? It will be fun to see your expressions while you do that. So again, it's optional. I'll leave it up to you, but it's going to be fun that way. Anyways, there's a lot of questions already, and I wanted to actually read the questions parallelly. But let me just quickly share my screen. And I did some work yesterday night to make the presentation not just about dark web, but a little more than that. So I wanted the presentation to be about how human beings think, why is it relevant to cybersecurity, and then about dark web, right? And before we go there, a bit of introduction about myself. I hope you can see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, before we go there, a little bit of introduction about myself. Rahul Sasi, I'm the founder and CTO of CloudSEK. I had the privilege to speak in almost 22 plus countries in cybersecurity topics. This is between 2010 and 2016, where I used to publish papers and interact, travel and interact and listen to other people and also speak about what I had. Currently, I am I had a company called CloudSEK. We're a team of close to 100 people, very focused on cybersecurity and machine learning. You can check out you can check out our openings and the company and culture, etc., etc. Anyways, before I go into because this was like what everyone was asking about, but before I go into, let's do like a quick exercise. By the way, can you guys pick up your phone? Can you pick up your phone for a minute? Yeah, and you might have a light. Just turn on your light. Turn on the light on the phone. It's okay. I mean, there are a couple of people not doing it. Go ahead, do it. It's okay. It's gonna be fun. Switch on the light, the flashlight on your phone. Yeah, I can see 4 or 5 people doing it. Go ahead. I mean, there are a couple of people not doing it. Yep. Go ahead. It's gonna be fun, right? Close your eyes and just keep it on top of your eyelid. Just close your eyes, and then slowly move the phone left and right. It's okay. It's gonna be fun. Just try it out, and I'll tell you what is happening. Slowly move your phone left to right. Are you able to see some objects moving? And you have to keep your phone moving, by the way, from left to right by closing your eyes. Right? Are you able to see some objects right now? I don't know how many people tried. Just make sure your eyes are closed. Yeah. Well. Okay. Are you able to see some objects? Do you guys see some objects? Like tiny particles?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyone here can tell me what it is?
So I believe it's like the cones or the cells in the retina. I mean, that's what I read in biology long back.
Yeah, well, those are basically the shadows of your veins, the blood vessels which are going to your retina, right? The arteries. Those are the shadows of the not the retina itself, the shadow, by the way, right? And this is actually a good way to explain the internet as well. Um, and those shadows are not the primary part of your blood vessel. They're like a tiny part of the blood vessel, but significant part. And the reason why you're able to see those, when light falls on this on those veins, it reflects them back to the retina. And when you move, right, when you move the shadows, because for a stagnant object, you would not be able to see. Only when a shadow, when you move the lights, right, the shadow keeps moving from left to right. That's the reason why your brains are able to recognize it. Anyways, it has a significant reference to how we perceive the internet also, right? There is, and by the way, even when you have your eyes, right, when you close your eyes, you would not be able to see those, which is in a way where the internet is also. The internet has a visible region, which is called the surface web. That's where when you go to Google, search anything on internet, right? Whatever data you see on Google, that's actually called the surface web, which is actually a tiny portion of the internet, by the way. The large portion of the internet is actually something called as deep web. And what is deep web? For example, let's say Aadhaar, right? The Aadhaar database. It's actually not searchable. It's still part of the internet. You can still interact with it in a minimal way, right? As an individual, you can interact with it, but it's still part of the internet. But that's a very huge data, not publicly available, right? Or you can take your your college database, student databases, or your university mark system. Again, it's all connected. It might be connected to the internet, but you don't have a search. You can't completely search over the entire data. That is basically like 80 to 90% of the internet actually comprises of such data, unindexed. Google only indexes the very tiny portion of the internet, which is a surface web, by the way, right? These data, nobody has access. They can index it and search. That becomes the deep web, which is the primary thing. Then comes the dark web. The dark web is the region on the internet where, again, it's actually how do I say? It's like a private network sort of thing, where if you have certain, for example, Tor is a network, you can access that part of the internet. You can browse it the way how it is normally done, but a lot of good things also happen here. A lot of bad things happens here as well. When I say bad things, this is a place where a lot of cyber crime underground activities happen, where, for instance, let's assume that you got hacked and your data is on the internet. The data is leaked somewhere on the internet. This is where that data will be put for sale, so that people can go buy your data and misutilize it, or things like that. Which, again, that's actually a very small portion of the internet. Any questions? Happy to take questions. And I wanted to see the chat window parallelly. I don't think there's an option for me to do that, right?
I can help you out. I'll probably read out a few questions.
Yeah, if there are questions coming in, read out. Okay, cool. So before we go, and I saw Pradeep here. Hey, Pradeep, are you there? I saw him. Do you want to be a sport and be part of the next adventure we are doing?
Hey,
Hey, hi,
yeah,
Pradeep. Hi.
hi.
So
Yeah,
Pradeep, you will be knowing all these things. So I thought, I'll just pull you in, make you part of the next experiment which you're doing.
yeah,
Okay, so
right.
to show you about to give you a quick glimpse about the dark web. Like I said, right, this is where data actually gets leaked on the internet. What I have is like a small search, and one of the things we've been doing is we've been indexing this tiny part of the internet called dark web, where people's personal information has been being leaked and being kept for sale, right? what we will do right now is we have an ability to check whether any of your information has ever been leaked online or not. It's a small facility we have. Pratik, do you mind volunteering and giving your email to
Yeah,
see
sure,
if you?
sure.
Yeah.
So my personal email ID, I would say, which is
Yeah.
pratik.kumade@gmail.com.
So
Dot
Pratik Pratik dot
dot
ku
ghu
oh ghu
made
mad.
@gmail.com.
Okay, that's okay. This is correct, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's something. I think there's something wrong. I'll actually advise you to all. Yeah. Okay. So, was your password ever the following?
Yeah, maybe.
Very long back, right? Very long back.
Yeah.
This would have been your password very long back. Whatever, there are so many people now on the, again, this would not be his password, but something which has been very old. Well, you guys all can actually check if your personal information has been leaked. Go to this website called Have I Been Pawned? Have I Been Pawned? Okay, this is a website. You can actually put your email address and check whether any of your information has ever been leaked online or not. It's free service, by the way. You can just go do that. You don't have to do it right away. I mean, you can do it later as well. Just Pradeep, can you just type this domain on the chat so that people can just go check it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I put my email address, right? So similarly, a lot of similar data will come across. So this is the best place to actually go check it. And thank you, Pradeep, for being a good sport.
No
Appreciate
problem.
it. Yeah. Anyway, so this is what a lot of information like this actually gets leaked online, and which primarily happens in the dark web, and that's what dark web is all. Instead of focusing more on the dark web, I wanted to focus on how these data actually get leaked, right? What is the reason of these data coming? How does people hack and compromise such data, right? So one of the things, and I'll give you some context with COVID, right? One of the interesting things that happened with COVID was, people started using mobile phones more, right? I mean, you're spending a lot more time with phones, and you have installed at least one game during this lockdown, just to get away from the boredom. And what did that lead you to? Well, that lead you to a bit of a behavioral change, how you approach, how you interact with the virtual world. For example, whatever would have been interesting for you before COVID might not be interesting for you anymore, but you have a new set of interest. And I'll give you a good example. Can you tell me which of these apps, these are all game apps, right? These are all games on Apple iTunes. Which of these apps do you guys think are good? And one of these apps, some of these apps are malicious. Malicious in the sense they're like a virus or a malware that can steal your personal data sitting on your phone. Can you point to me and say, can you put it on the chat and say, well, yeah, these are the what do I say? These are the, yeah. Anyone knows which one was malicious and which one is legitimate? Okay, no answers. So, okay, take a guess, by the way. Which one you think is good and which one would be bad?
So there's a lot of people who are saying all of them are.
All of them. Okay, everything. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's true. All of them are bad. I mean, I think it's a lucky guess. Well, all of these apps were actually bad in the sense all of them were pretending to be a game, but was actually stealing people's confidential information. And this talk would be about how we identified these are malicious apps. This is one of the knockoffs. Okay, we will we'll investigate and show you how these apps were bad and how they were targeting people to steal their personal information, right? Yeah. So, what is happening is your brains, right? The brains construct reality primarily based on assumptions. It's not based on facts, or it is always with relatively little information, right? And I'll show you an example. I'll show you a couple of examples, by the way. I'm going to show you a magic trick. Okay, I want you to think of a number, any number in this. Okay, we have 5 seconds. Think of any number in this slide. I hope you have the number, right? I want you to think about number. Now, I assume that you have a number in your mind. I want you to think about the number, keep focusing on that number. And I'm going to make that number disappear from the slide completely. Because I know which number you will think, and I've made it disappear. The number you've been thinking is no more in the list. It's gone, right? How did I do that? I'll explain in the end, but it's gone. I have one more trick, by the way. This I want you to interact and put the answer here. Let's assume you're going to do a lottery. You're going to win a lottery, right? Which of these, let's assume these are lottery ticket numbers. Which of these numbers will you pick to win a lottery? Again, this is a random lottery draw, lucky draw, right? Which of these numbers will you pick to win a lottery? Can you put the answers here? It's A, B, or C, or D. Can you put the answers? Yeah, go ahead. C, great. C, great. Yep. Put A, B, or C, or D. Cool. Okay, so if you look at this, right? Well, there's none of this. The probability of any of these numbers winning is same, by the way, right? It's a random number. The reason, if you look at the statistics, a lot of people actually choose C than any other number, and hardly anyone choose A, by the way, right? Most of the people actually choose C is simply because your brain is trying to say that you need to stand out to win. Okay, it's constantly telling you that you have to be different or stand out from whatever is available to you to win. If you look at a random number, random numbers are random, right? It can happen. There's 25. There's equal percentage for any of these numbers to be a winning lottery number than A, B, or C. But people choose C simply because to stand out, because all these numbers are very identical, easy to remember, recognize, etc., etc. So the brain forms the information, and the factual information is, well, everything has equal chance to win. The ambiguous way of your brain creating that notion is that, well, C would be the easiest way for me to win because it's standing out from all the other numbers, right? It's not factual. So this is the same way how you make decisions in your everyday life. In the previous magic which I showed, in the end, I'll ask how did your number disappear? Because some of you might still be confused. Okay, what happened to that? We'll come back to that, but it's a simple trick. Your brain is very, very deceiving, right? I mean, the brain does not take decisions based on facts. Very simple. Yeah, correct. I mean, all the numbers were changed, and then not everyone would be able to identify because you are actually stunned by the performance rather than what actually happened. Same goes to this thing. Anyways, the point I was trying to make was don't trust your brains in and know that it's biased. And when you know that's biased, you'll be able to take better decisions. So how did we, in cybersecurity world, how would we choose and to know whether something is good or bad, or something is right or wrong, right? This is all about how we did the analysis. So when we found these apps, right, when we saw these apps on App Store, what we did is, it was looking like a Santa, right? It was like a talking Santa. You can press the Santa and it'll talk to you. It's like the talking cat sort of thing. Very simple game. So there was nothing to be suspicious about it. But then when we evaluated the permissions, right? If you go to App Store, and you can check an application, and it will show you all the permissions it will require you to install on your phone, right? And hardly anyone reads those permissions. But if you closely read those permissions, some of these apps would require permission to read your SMS. Some of these will say, I need permission to make a call, right? Why would a talking Santa app require permission to read your SMS or send SMS on your behalf, right? You have to understand SMS is a functionality which is closely associated with OTPs, right? You receive an OTP. App Store, I don't think there is a mechanism. Play Store has it. But the point is, why do you need to give an random application access to your SMS or some other thing, right? Well, that's where we were suspicious, right? I mean, it might look like, it might look like very normal, but it was simply asking you for your SMS access. Now, that led us to do a little bit of technical analysis on the file, and then we understood that when we reverse engineered the app, we understood that this app was actually reading. Anyone who installs this app, it will start reading all the SMS which is on the phone and send it to a remote server, right? And the server was this, and then which very obvious, right? This is a very bad Santa, right? It's not more a good Santa. So then we were actually, so we were very curious, who did this, right? Who is behind it? Who would possibly want these apps to be installed on your server? So we did more analysis. And then I'll also explain how we found who is behind these attacks. One of the things we were able to do was we were able to work with some of the law enforcement agencies and related parties. We were able to access, remember, the data was being sent to a particular server. We were able to get some information about this server where the data was getting sent. What you see over here is actually how the attacker's infrastructure worked. That means every data which gets sent to the remote server was being displayed in an interface like this. Okay, so this is the dashboard the attackers used to view every data on your phone if you have installed this app. So what you see over here is the guys can remotely see how many phone calls you have received, how many calls you've missed, how many SMSs you have, okay, how many SMSs you have sent, right? And a lot more, right? Call records. They can actually play on their website the calls which you have made, and they can listen to the calls on the web application itself. They can see all your browsing history, by the way. They can remotely see all the browsing app history, browse all your contacts, and even see your galleries, right? This is like the scariest most part, right? I mean, if you have been ever victim to some of these guys can browse your gallery as when you like remotely. And this is the interface, right? And even your location, by the way, where you're going, what did you do there, how much time you spend there, all those location information as well. They even have a very neat functionality where they could say, well, if such, and this functionality was very targeted on VIP users, important people, right? It was like, if this victim of mine enters this particular locality, and it can be an office, it can be a government building, then start recording the entire environment sound, right? For instance, let's say you have been infected, they can say, well, when Agash enters this building, start recording everything which is happening, audio, right? And send it back to the server. And it's a neat way to get to know your conversation, your business meetings, etc., with people. And was the best? No, could be installed. Very true. In the first place, the protocols have. Yeah, I'll answer all those. I'll answer all these questions, by the way. And this is like where they can play environment recordings, etc., We were also able to track, and because we have all the data, right? We were able to get bad guys' data. We were able to plot all the infected machines on a graph on a map actually, and then we were able to identify whom the infections were. And we were able to actually do some more things actually. In fact, we were able to even identify who was behind it, things like that. I think before I go there, I think there are a lot of questions, and I think I would definitely take those questions. So in fact, in this analysis, we were even able to identify who was behind these attacks, how they were, why they were targeting, and I'll quickly run through why they were targeting. They were very interested in a certain set of users, and the way they were doing it was, they will, for example, you work for a company called Bharat Petroleum, right? They'll create these mobile applications like games, and then they put on an app store thing talking Santa, and somewhere in the talking Santa they'll put Bharat Petroleum. Okay, so when anyone searches on, so anyone would be trying to find out all the apps related to me. They'll search for Bharat Petroleum. All of a sudden you see this game app. Your brain would just deviate from what you're actually looking for, and you're like, oh wow, this is a game, and then you actually install it, right? Again, this is all based on how your brain actually performs. You get deviated, you get misguided, and then you install these apps, and then they get access to their phones, and then they used to sell this data to interested parties, and that was the whole way it was happening. So now when they sell the data, the place where they sell this data is actually on the dark web, right? They've still stolen all your information. Now they are put it on the dark web. Any bidder, anyone who has a price to pay for your data, they can buy all those data and misutilize it. Yeah. So so this is pretty much let me think how much. Yeah. This is pretty much how these things work. And I think I would love to take questions, interact with you guys, then talking for another 20-30 minutes. And if I have there are a couple of slides I can show you if those questions matches those slides. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. Thank you, Rahul, for the informative session. I'll bounce off a few questions to you. So we do have one question, like how do bank account attacks like Jamdara occur? And why do people confidentially share their bank account details? Or even without that, can bank accounts be looted or hacked?
Yeah. Let me show you something very interesting. Okay, this is a part of CloudSEK, what CloudSEK does. And it might be interesting for you, and that's why I'm showing you right now. Normally we don't show this, and in fact it was not even part of our presentation here. Let me quickly share my screen. One of the common ways bank accounts get hacked these days are still because of human stupidity, because all these banks are spending so much time in security, so their infrastructure is primarily secure. What has happened is humans are still stupid, right? The feed you see, I hope you can see my screen, right? Hello?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. What you see over here is a feed, an internal feed, by the way, of CloudSEK, where we monitor all sort of scams which happens against banks. Over here, someone has just posted, and this is a tweet was just posted like at 12:20, 2-3 hours back. Okay, the tweet says that this is Yatra's customer care number. Any problem related to Yatra, call this number. And let me show you the tweet, by the way. Right, this is a tweet. The tweet says Yatra customer care number. Anything related to refund, etc., call this number. Now, what is happening here is, and there is another one for GoAir, right? Someone just posted sometime back saying this is GoAir's customer care number, blah blah blah. Now, any person on the internet, when they search GoAir customer care number either on Twitter or on Google, right, this number comes up. But actually, this is not the legitimate customer care number. So when you call these numbers, and I'll show you some of the banks as well, right? PhonePe. I mean, you might be using PhonePe, right? And you might be using Google Pay as well, right? Let me just show you. Sorry. What happened to? Should all go here. Yeah, Test is another UPI app, right? Google Pay. Yeah, this is Google Pay's. Let me see if that.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is another one. Another person saying this is Google Pay's customer care number. A lady is there on the phone saying customer care number. These are all fake numbers. So when you actually go search for Google Pay customer care number, these numbers pops up. Now what happens is when you call those numbers, because you are in a hurry, you're trying to solve a problem, these guys will pretend to be bank because your mind is automatically thinking that, well, I just have the number, I called the bank. So they'll play all the music and everything, which normally the call centers play, right? And then they'll say, hey, hello, hi, I am here from Google Pay. What's your problem? And then you'll say, well, I lost my money to this person, or I haven't got my refund yet. And they'll say, well, give me a minute, I have triggered an OTP. Okay. What they will do is they'll ask you for the OTP. They'll use that OTP to log into your account and direct the money. This is a big thing which is happening. And this is one of the common reasons why a lot of people actually get hacked. So when you see someone lost money, this is exactly what would have happened, right? So be very cautious, right? I mean, again, you have to understand this is still a lot to do with psychology. If you might be knowing that, well, there are bad guys out there, but now you chase the bad guys. You actually went looking for a phone number and you found the wrong phone number, and you actually think it's now the legitimate number because the brains work that way, right? And that's how you get duped. So this is one way of, you can see like phone Go Air, Test India, all these guys are getting scammed this way, and the consumers are getting scammed this way, right? Very related to what I just explained, right? A deceiving picture would be there, so your mind snaps immediately, you loses your focus, and then you might call this number and then get scammed. A lot of people loses money this way. Yeah, I hope I answered that question. So the point is, it's never the infrastructure of the banks. Hardly it happens. It happens though, by the way, but most banks have put enough investments in security. It's the people.
Thank you, Rahul, for the very detailed answer, and bringing us light to how we people get fished. So, due to interest of time, is it okay if we can email you the next set of questions, whatever the participants have been asking?
Absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely. I mean, I'll just put my you can just put my LinkedIn there, and happy to. We have a community also where we encourage people to post questions and things like that. So yeah.
Thank you so much, and Rahul, I would like to thank you for the very informative session on how about the dark web and different ways how we have been duped. I mean, I didn't know Zomato had my data and they didn't give me freebies. So, but this was very informative, and I'll be mailing you the remaining questions for the day.